what to say, but us being here means that we are here and we want to do something, and we got to do something. We got to make a change here for all elections, not just for the presidential election, even for the senators, state senators, local senators, the sheriff, the school board, and the judges. You got to remember, it's not just sitting here talking about it. We got to put our feet, our mind, and be able to stay informed the whole meeting. But you must believe my heart is always here, you know, and Melanie knows that. So I hope that we talk about this. Now, we still have that terrible, horrible thing that happened down in Texas. And, so with that, I'm not going to hold up because I know that everybody is busy. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
April Ryan, and April is a friend. But at the same time, I'm going to ask you to do 2 minutes. If you're preaching issues. And we're going to start off with Gary Hudson, the Secretary and Treasurer of FEIU. 2 minutes, please.
So let me start by saying that there is no path to the White House except through a deep mobilization of black voters. Deep mobilization. The last time around, black voters actually voted in a way that surpassed. We don't have Barack Obama at the top of the ticket to draw. The organization of our justice, that last Supreme Court stripped away, gutted the Voting Rights Act that we had for 50 years. Imagine what the next one would do. So from our point of view, if you're worried about jobs, if you're worried about criminal justice reform, if you're worried about trying to figure out how to protect what we have already gained, then you got to vote like never before. We got a special challenge. There's a whole lot of our young folks. Anybody can say, we got to move from protest to politics to policy change. So I'm saying we vote with everything we've got.
All right, Funnel Brooks, President and CEO of the NAACP.
Important moment in at least 3 respects. So obviously the first election in 50 years without the full protection. The first election with this degree of diversity of voter suppression. Namely, we have not your grandparents' voter suppression, but voter suppression with respect to race, ethnicity, and generation, i.e. concealed weapon permits being honored, not necessarily a specific issue. One of which, and so as Jerry has lifted up, where we have the voting necessarily will affect the serial hashtags that we see on the daily basis, the police videos that we see on the daily basis, the brutalization of black lives we see on the CP is doing, is we've issued what we call a protect and preserve pledge. That we're asking all office holders to commit to doing 5 things. Number 1, commit to no funding for discriminatory law enforcement. In other words, where there's a pattern practice. In other words, you cannot eliminate that which you can't measure. 4, because right now, there's no national standard when it comes to excessive use of force. It differs from state to state. And finally, an independent review of police shootings. So the point being here is unless we...
and I could not agree more with my fellow brother of labor, Jerry, or one of my partner over here to my right, Cornell, and the issues that they've laid out before you. For the NEA, we look at this as a systemic reality that we're facing right now. And we've taken on as a union, eradicating institutional racism in this country, focused mostly on racial justice and education. And we've been spending the last year since I visited you at the NAACP convention for now, working on what we as educators must do as part of the structural system of institutional racism, specifically focused on racial justice and education. At stake here, because if we do not address and take their rightful place as leaders in this country, they will be relegated to positions, if there are any. Talk about what we're doing. We are partnering with other organizations across this country to bring about racial justice and education. A candidate that we know will help us to do that. And we are...
In order to get people to work for any cause, you have to inspire them. and all of us can agree, economic and social